What's up, guys? This is Helix Tim. Welcome back to Helix Heroes. Today I'll be speaking with Nelson Maldonado, a math teacher at Memorial High School in West New York, who has been pivotal in the development of their school's esports program. On this episode, we'll be discussing how the school got started in esports, any challenges they may have faced in that process, as well as the benefits of having an esports program at the high school level. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. All right, Nelson, how you doing?
Good. How's everything, Tim?
Not too shabby. So we'll start pretty basic. Just some quick background. What's your name and what is your role at Memorial High School?
All right. So my name is Nelson Maldonado. I'm part of the math department at Memorial High School. So I teach mathematics. They kind of have me all over. I'm teaching algebra 2, pre-calculus, geometry. So there's no real subject that I'm kind of restricted to. And then I'm also the lead advisor for the Tiger Gaming Alliance at Memorial.
Amazing. And what is the Tiger Gaming Alliance? And how did Memorial High School get started in esports?
All right. So the Tiger Gaming Alliance was I guess actually it was just a club. And it was very much student driven. So, we've had certain conversations with students before about gaming and things of that nature. But the kids kind of connected to me in terms of just having that, common ground with gaming. So they always wondered, can we make a club? Is that something we can do? So I think in 2018, we decided to try to push that a little bit and see exactly, where if we can actually get this going. So, it took a few months and a lot of, groundwork from the students. They had to push forward like a constitution and all this different kind of just a layout of what the club would mean and what it should be in terms of the social aspect at the school. So we were able to go ahead and push that through, and we got approved, and we got the club going. And then, simultaneously, almost like as soon as the club was approved, we were able to. We actually got in contact with you guys. We also spoke with North Bergen and Union City, kind of all at the same time, because we kind of all knew we were brewing up something in esports.
Yeah.
So again, it was just like everything at the right time. So we got, in contact with you guys. You guys held that spring tournament for us last spring in 2019. So, that was some experience. So, from there on, we still have the social aspects. So we do host like in-house tournaments or like a Mario Kart social or something like that. But now we also have a scene where we actually compete at Helix.
Awesome. And so Tiger Gaming Alliance, technically a club at the school. Was there any like sort of roadblocks in getting that approved as a club, or any like pieces of advice you could give to a potential teacher that was looking to do the same thing you guys are doing?
Well, I mean, there's definitely going to be a little pushback because, again, at the end of the day, there is certain stigmas that come with certain video games. For example, like GTA has always had a notorious stigma to it because of the style of game it was. But what we try to kind of put forth is that a lot of times, and a lot of our gamers kind of identified this. A lot of times, either they're gaming alone or they're only gaming with people online, right? They will never communicate with someone who they didn't think was a gamer. But then with the club, you can kind of see that they have so much more in common than what they normally would.
Yeah.
A lot of kids have said to me like they would have never been friends unless the club existed. So definitely the social aspect. Once you start putting a face to your friends who also play the same game, that's something that's different. And then some of the struggles that you might deal with, obviously, and one of the big ones is going to be funding. Because since you're a new club, funding may not be there. So you gotta have to set a goal for yourselves and see what you gotta do. So we started out just with using like the Nintendo Switch because it's the easiest console to kind of because it's you don't really need much to use that.
Yep.
So we did Smash tournaments and Mario Kart, and just to get the kids together, socializing. Again, my mentality was always that if it's a club that kids could go into, and it keeps one more kid off the streets, gives them something to do, takes pride in their school, shows them a sense of commitment, a sense of leadership. So that's things that we kind of strive forward to doing with the club. But again, funding is always going to be an issue. So, we did do a lot of fundraising. We've held, in-house tournaments where, a lot of the money goes to the club, and we do kind of award some of the winners. But, we also had a fundraising for clothing. So,
Yep.
we were able to get with a company called Zero Gen, and they made us a team web store, and, we were able to merchandise. So, different ways of fundraising like you normally would just to get that going. And then luckily for us, our administration saw the great things we were doing, and you held that free tournament for us.
Yep.
And our school was like, look, this is great. Our administration came by, they saw the action, they thought it was amazing, and they just said, look, we'll back you guys on it. So a lot of good things happened for us, at the right times, and I thought that helped grow the club a little bit. And I actually spoke with some schools from the Midwest recently, and a lot of them are still student run, not too much backing from the administration.
Yeah.
But again, it's just putting yourself in the limelight. Nowadays, especially with gaming, we use our Twitter accounts and our Instagram accounts a lot just to put all the good stuff out there, and we're always tagging our schools, and they're always retweeting, so they see the good stuff that's happening. So I think just showing them exactly what can come out of the gaming club or the gaming competitive team, whatever your route you want to go.
Yep.
I think that's going to be the important thing. Is just showing them that it's just like any other important club that you have in the school. It's just another avenue for kids to connect and socialize and create memories.
Absolutely. I think in the news one, and then sometimes some chatter among the coaches in our league was kind of the end goal being the esports club potentially becoming like a varsity sport, a fully funded varsity sport. Do you think that's something that's attainable? And what do you think the process would be to get there?
I definitely do think it's attainable. I think in the short sample size that we had ourselves in our league, it's definitely not that difficult to do, especially at a location like yours where everyone can kind of meet and you can kind of get like a region together.
Yep.
So I don't think it's that difficult there in that aspect, because in my mindset, it's just like if you had a bowling team, right? No one has a bowling alley in their school. Everyone meets at the everyone meets at the bowling alley and they compete there. It's the same aspect. It's just now you're competing in a video game. And a lot of the stigma is well, video games not as and I understand where a lot of the old school athletic mentality comes from. But I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I've played collegiate baseball, so I know what it takes to compete at that level. And I was third team all state. So like all these things I've done. I've played baseball. I did the athletic aspect of it.
Yep.
But there's something about gaming that brings the same intensity, right? So like when you're competing and you have good players against good players, and it's not just you playing online with some random players. It becomes a real a difference maker. Like like in the past season where I saw one of our players, Blob. He was just going off in Overwatch and literally took over the
Constantly.
game. And it's just like, it's just like, it's just like if you're a basketball game and it's the fourth quarter and LeBron James decides to take over the game and he does some crazy things. So it has that same intensity. Especially in person, because when you're in person and you hear the other team across from you with their communications and you're communicating, and it's just a different atmosphere, and it just makes it that much better for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of on the same exact line there. What do you think some of the positives are of having an esports club, and this from the from the perspective of the students? What are the positives for the students that are members of the esports club?
Well, I mean, I actually, went to Discord, and I kind of asked them, what's the benefits of us having a competitive team? With the social aspect, obviously the benefits are you get to socialize, you meet new people, but what's the benefits of actually having a competitive team? And I, a lot of the things they said were, some kids said, look, I'm not gifted athletically, but I'm very competitive and I
Yeah.
am gifted in, video gaming. And this is something where I can showcase my talents and represent something just more than me. Because, a lot of the things that we kind of tell them is like, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing the school. There's a greater, responsibility to that. So, the way you handle yourself, they're not going to say, oh, look at that kid. They hang like, look at John and how he's doing. No, they're going to say, oh, look at that memorial student and how he's playing, So whether that's good or bad, you always have to remember that. And then some of the things they said is, they accountability is something they're learning from it. They're learning commitment, camaraderie. A lot of the same, I guess, traits you would learn from any typical traditional sport. And we always I always try to emphasize the word ACE. ACE representing accountability, commitment, and excellence. So accountability, whether it's you're not showing up to practice today because you have a doctor's appointment, or you need to you need to make sure that your teammates are doing what they need to in class, taking care of the grades. That's accountability. Commitment is just being committed to the team and each other. Showing something to strive for. Because a lot of times with gaming, a lot of people see that as a home thing. So they're saying, oh, why can't we just do it from home? Well, you need to be committed to doing it in person because that's how our league runs. So
Yep.
commit to this, and if you're willing to commit, obviously that's something that you're going to grow from. And then excellence, and it's not even in terms of winning. Well, we hope to win because as a competitor, that's always what you want to do. Excellence in terms at the shaking your opponent's hands, tipping your hat to them if you took a defeat, learning from that, and then just showing good sportsmanship throughout. So again, all these things that you do in traditional sports just carry over into this new scene of esports.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. How are you guys? Obviously, quarantine going on right now. I've seen you guys still staying engaged. Got people hopping on streams, stuff like that. What are you guys doing to stay engaged during quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing, it has been tough with quarantine. I mean, a lot of the guys, we were just on the cusp of starting our season, really.
Yeah,
So, to get that taken out from under us, it's kind of unfortunate. But we all know, that, the reality of the situation, and, safety comes first when it comes to the we did have a few scrimmages with North Bergen, Union City, some of the teams that are in our division.
oh nice.
But then we also played against some schools. Like we networked a little bit to teams in the Midwest, and we actually got into a few tournaments out there. And we also played against some of those schools in scrimmages.
Awesome.
So some of the tournaments we got into a Fortnite tournament, a Smash tournament, and a Rocket League tournament. So we kind of able to venture out a little bit. It's completely different because it is online. But the kids did in terms of dealing with latency and lag issues because we're playing out of our time zone.
Yep.
But it was a good experience nevertheless, and we just wanted to see what it was like in the online format because again, most of our competition, land based, which I think is the best way to do it. But again, we've had that experience. We ventured out, and again, we just networked. So now we have other teams to scrimmage anytime we do need to scrimmage. We kind of created that relationship with some of those teams in the Midwest. And then, I thought it was a cool idea for us to have like a streamer week because, some of our kids, they do stream occasionally, but, maybe their following isn't as high as it should be. So we just try to highlight, at least one player in each of the sports that we play. And, it was a good week. A lot of kids got some more followers and tuned into their streams. It was pretty cool experience for them. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I love that as well. Have you been able to take a look at any Valorant gameplay?
Yeah, so I mean, I actually got a key and I was able to play a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Now, me personally, I'm more of a console player. So the transition into PC, that's something that I have to kind of get to. Like
Me
my
too.
mind is going at 100 miles an hour,
Yeah.
but my gameplay isn't. Like I know what I want to do, but my I guess the motor skills that I need for PC aren't there yet. And
Yeah, me
since
too.
we are older now, it's not as easy to pick up as it used to be when we were younger. But I've been playing. I like the game. It's great. Again, it's a combination of with a lot of abilities like Apex or Watch. And again, it's very, very fun. I like the game. And it's definitely going to be a skill-based game, so we'll see how that turns out to be once things get going.
Have any of your players been able to play it, and do you think it would be a positive addition to potentially the league?
Well, I think in terms of gameplay, it definitely will be.
Yeah.
I think that whole search and destroy or bomb site gameplay is always great. The good thing about Valorant is they came out with it as a team-based game, so that could be something that administrations are okay with us using.
Hmm.
Again, it kind of follows that same notion as a Fortnite. It's awesome, I think. And again, the only thing, when we add, Valorant, it's just, how many other games get hurt by it. That's
Right.
the one constant thing that we're always going to have to kind of think about and reinvent ourselves is a new game comes out, a kid picks it up and is actually good at it and wants to play that more than the other games. So how do we not hurt Overwatch, or how do we not hurt a kid who played Rocket League all the time and now he's playing Valorant every day? So
Yeah.
we'll just have to figure out exactly how we're gonna go about that. But I mean, the game itself is fun. I think it's meant for competitive nature. From day one. That's kind of what they want to go for. So I think it's great.
Yeah, likewise. But I had the same issue as you. I'm a console guy and trying to play against these PC guys in Valorant. It is not easy.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I haven't even dumped it yet because I'm just like, if I'm not even like I'm not even top fragging in public matches. I'm not gonna go
Me
into
either.
rank just yet.
Yeah. I got the same issue. Do you guys have any plans over the summer, or do you think we're gonna pick things back up in the fall when school starts back up?
Well, we'll see. I mean, again, it's a lot of uncertainty right now
Right.
because of the pandemic. And we'll see how funding ends up working out in terms of the schooling. Again, we're just hoping that we get enough funding just to make ends meet in terms from the state. That's just the biggest, that's the realest issue that we have that's
Yep.
going to go on. So again, in terms of the summer, I usually let my guys enjoy their summer. I may, if they look for scrims or they want scrims, I might get them something to do. I'm trying to keep them busy as best as possible during the spring. We're trying to set up currently a Minecraft tournament,
Nice.
open to anyone, free admission. I mean, it's just a fun tournament to kind of play. So we're trying to set that up right now. So, something that the kids can kind of do, look forward to, stay together. But again, it's been tough. Everything's been remote. So, hopefully moving forward, hopefully things get back to normal as quickly as possible. So that way we can, continue on to the success that we've already established, through esports.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're super excited to have you guys back in the facility and getting that league back and up and running.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a good time.
So I mean, it's just something. It's definitely unfortunate. Like we got our team in recently. They would have been in time for the first game that we would have had. So putting those threads on and going out there and competing against other schools would have been sick for
You guys
sure.
would have been looking fresh.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that would have kind of gave a new confidence to everyone. So we'll see how that goes on moving forward.
And did you
And then
guys
the
get
only
those
thing is,
through? Go ahead.
go ahead. And then, the only thing that we kind of feel bad for too is, our seniors who kind of had their last hoorah,
Yeah.
this spring. So that's the only thing that kind of, sucks a little bit, but, I guess, it can't really do much during this time.
Was Blob a senior?
Yeah, Bob is a senior. And I've spoken to him about it, and he's a very relaxed kid and very jolly kid. So he's like, look, it's all right, it's not a big deal, like, there's not much we can do. So I mean, he's been playing on a lot of semi-pro teams, in Overwatch and competing that way. So hopefully, I mean, he has the skill set to be good at any FPS game on the PC. So we'll see what turns out of him moving forward. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I guess then path to semi, even full pro is something that's actually legitimate from a high school to just like in any other sport, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And I think the message that I'm gonna, pretty much moving forward, the message I'm gonna be sending is, you know, whether you don't have the ability to be a pro or semi-pro at that aspect, why don't you use this as an avenue for school? There's so many colleges now that are even opening up esports programs and offering either partial or full scholarships. You know, that's money.
Yeah,
You getting a scholarship is money. That's like you becoming a pro. You are now getting paid to compete. So, why not take that avenue? Why not go the college route? Let's say, even if it's a small, like, let's say a D2 school that has an esports program that's willing to give you half scholarship. That's half, that's money you don't have to spend now because
yep,
you've the avenue of esports to get there. So, that's one thing that I'm definitely going to be pushing for, in the future as it grows through the college ranks, that like use this to get to a college, use this as an avenue. So that way, because, we are in an economic disadvantaged district. So a lot of the kids, college is very, very expensive for them.
yeah.
So why not go using esports as that driving force so you can go and get a better education, on a partial or full ride because you compete and you're good at what you do.
100%. And it's not just the players who are getting these scholarship looks. I've talked to some college esports directors that have even recruited like general managers of their high school teams or casters or streamers, just people who have been in that realm and kind of understand what goes on the day to day.
Yeah, yeah, and again, and that's why like in our club we have what's called a leadership committee, and these guys are kind of put together, and then they're voted upon, and they're voted by their peers to get into the leadership committee, and we don't have a president because it makes no sense for one person to kind of rule all. So what we do is we have this leadership committee, and they come up with ideas, and it's kind of like the democracy standpoint in
Yeah,
that aspect, and but again, like multiple views, multiple ideas, and kids going, taking responsibility, like if it was their own, so that's something that like doesn't you can't, that can't be taught. You have to experience that, so it's something that I think these kids are gaining leadership skills, gaining the ability to communicate to others, gaining that ability to understand, okay, maybe we need to compromise in some sort. So those skills, regardless if they go into esports or anything, it's just something that they'll use for the entire life moving forward.
and which are the same almost the same exact skills you would learn from, like you said, you playing um, super competitive collegiate baseball, kind of basically the same lessons, life lessons that you would learn from that, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And at the next level, especially in the collegiate level, like they'll start to understand like, look, you have to be accountable for your grades and stuff. So they'll know that they'll have to take, class serious so that they can play and compete, so they can stay eligible and compete.
Yeah.
The competing part of it was always the fun part, right? But I always, and I was stressed this as a child, and I stress it now being a coach, is that you're labeled a student athlete, right? So, you're a student first and the athlete comes second, and you only get the ability to enjoy the athletic part of it if you took care of business in the
Yep.
classroom, right? So I tell them, look, as for kids who may be ineligible or on that frisk, I tell them, look, if this means that much to you, you'll turn around in the classroom and change what you need to change. Like this is if you want this to happen for yourself and you like this, then you'll do what you need to do on your end during off season, or whatever it may be. So I mean, we stay on top of our kids. They have to be academically held to the same standards as traditional esports. So we're kind of already doing that, even though we're just kind of like a club still.
Yep.
So we've already done as much as we possibly can in terms of ensuring that kids are on the right path to success. Because again, this is the fun part. The fun part is the esports and competing. But we need to make sure you handle business ahead of time.
Absolutely. Well, it definitely sounds like Memorial High School Esports is in good hands
Well,
with
I'm
you.
I'm trying here.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I
I
mean,
mean,
and then I have backing too. Miss Goikachea Tracy. I'm sure you've seen her a bunch of
oh
times
yeah,
there too.
absolutely.
Like she's also one of our advisors, and she's one that's very strict on their grades and stuff like that. So, we have multiple backings in terms of that.
That's
It's not
awesome.
just only me, it's other people behind the scenes that kind of help out too.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for coming in today. Really appreciate your insight. Um, Best of luck over the summer, and I can't wait to have you guys back in for the fall and competing again.
Yeah, I mean, we look forward to it. Again, my kids are chomping at the bit for it already. They can't wait to get back. Even just getting back into the classroom. I mean, everyone's kind of
Yeah,
missing the classroom. You know,
going
yeah, a
outside.
lot of times kids are, yeah, a lot of kids are, a lot of kids are usually like, I don't want to be in school or this and that. But like, since now we can't be in school, we're physically not told to be in school, everyone misses it. So like,
Yep,
we're all looking forward to get back, you know?
absolutely. All
So,
right, Nelson.
we'll see. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks a
it.
lot. Yep. Talk soon. See you later, Nelson.
All right. See you later. Have a good one.
Have a great one.